Mark,
Hey, Paul.
what is going on?
Checking out this monster-sized conclusion to Dream Team.
Yes, yes, we have. We're so close to absolute power. I can almost taste it.
I can
Um,
smell it for sure.
that may not be absolute power. That
Oh,
may be
dang.
something else. But we're going to talk about actually the two that came out last week. But we'll get to those in just a second. Right after this. This. Right after that. So, welcome back to DC Comics Deep Dive. We are back after a week off because of Heroes Con. Everyone had a great time. Search out all the videos for everyone that went to Heroes Con. See what people picked up. Lots of videos about C3. He was there hawking away C3 stuff. So and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully it was a success for you. But I'm sure you'll let us know that. So.
Yeah, it was
Um,
massive success.
Cool. Cool, absolutely. So before we get started, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're alerted whenever we upload new content. And make sure you leave us you leave us a comment on the content because we want to know how we're doing, where we should go from here. We know where we're going. It's going to be absolute power. So if you put anything else, probably not going there
You
because
should vote for absolute power, is what we're suggesting.
exactly, because that's pretty much going to be the story for the next 3 or so months, just over 3 months probably, at least through the summertime. So, and a reminder, we have our big 100th episode coming up in just a few weeks as well. So more on that in the coming weeks. But on the week before Heroes Con, we actually had two things that came out. We had Green Lantern number 12, which had the Guy Gardner tie-in to the House of Brainiac, and we had Suicide Squad Dream Team number 4, the countdown to absolute power, the final issue of that miniseries. So let's start with Green Lantern number 12. Um,
Very action-packed issue we have here.
It was. It was. In the past couple issues, just the backup has been a tie-in. If you've been following it, Guy Gardner was taxed with going after and capturing Lobo. He captured who he thought was Lobo, who wasn't really Lobo. The two of them do some buddy hijinks. Go through the universe. They see some dolphins. They do some other things. They now are in a shrunken bottle inside one of Brainiac's shrunken cities, and Guy is actually now your local FedEx person inside the bottle. He basically is a delivery man. I know, but
It's intentionally cheesy, in case
it
y'all are
is. It
wondering.
really is.
It's
It,
intentionally written like a comedy. So
it
this is
actually it is. It is much more the vibe of the Justice League International Guy Gardner than anything that they're doing now, because Guy Gardner does do some things in current issues that came out today. It came out today. This is Wednesday. That actually will help as we move further into Absolute Power. But this is done again. JLI Kevin McGuire does the art to give it that feel as well. Yes, exactly. Um, so he manages to find in the bottle. He manages to find the guy who was Lobo, not Lobo. They come up with a plan to escape. They basically manage to escape from the bottle. We are left with them falling. They basically end up in that scene in House of Brainiac where Guy Gardner is in the background standing with all of the Lobos and everything. So that's kind of where that fits into the story. So not a lot of content to it, really, not a lot of meat to it. Again, to your point, it was definitely done as just kind of a, hey, this is kind of a wacky type thing that Guy Gardner is doing. One of many wacky things he's done over the years. But in the main story, this is the first time we're actually going to have a little bit of a tie-in with the main story in Green Lantern, because at one point during this story, Faros ends up paying a visit to Amanda Waller.
Yeah, so Green Lantern's been pretty isolated in his story out in space. He managed to get off Earth. He's investigating the United Planets. They're completely corrupt. Big things to point out is that he gets away. All the other Lanterns that are kind of there trying to shut down the United Planets do not, but Hal gets away to regroup and attack. So Tharos, the leader of the United Planets, this corrupt organization that's overseeing the entire universe and has taken control of all the power batteries and all the emotional color spectrum, he reaches out to Amanda Waller saying, "Hey, we've had a deal. I don't mess with you and what you have going on in your cracked out corner of the universe, and you're happy. But I want this guy shut down, and he's coming your way." So what we've seemingly done in just one issue is shifted Hal Jordan into absolute power territory seamlessly, smoothly. And if y'all remember, we've seen this Green Lantern title be a tie-in to a smaller event called Night Terrors. And out of all of the Night Terror books, it was the only one that seamlessly shifted into and out of Night Terrors, where if you're reading this title, you do not have to drop it if you don't want to do the event. You can just keep reading straight through the event. You're perfectly fine. It adds to the event, and it also stands on its own two legs. So I'm excited to see what Jeremy Adams does on this title during Absolute Power, not just for Absolute Power, because this dude is just a total class act.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are 5 titles basically that are going to be crossing over with the or tie-ins with the Absolute Power title, and they are Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, and Green Lantern. Those are the 5.
The
And
Justice
so
League is coming back, baby. It's
exactly,
coming.
it's
It's
got to
on the
be. It's
way.
got to be. So at the end, we basically see. We also have, for those of you who want to about the rest of the story, we have Carol. Carol is back as Star Sapphire. Um, she basically says, "Hey, look, you know what? If you remember, she was about to get married in the last issue. She basically says, look, I was about to get married, and then I realized I'm not marrying the guy that I love. There's only one person that I love, and that's you. And so they end up in Hal Jordan's little RV or whatever, and at
Winnebago.
the Winnebago, yeah. And at the very end, the Winnebago basically explodes, and they're there, and they're facing basically Amanda Waller's team, led by King Shark.
The Nolway.
Um,
Yeah.
exactly, is basically
I can't
where we
remember
end.
him taking on Hal Jordan since the start of Jeff Johns' run back in the day.
Yeah, yeah, yep, yeah. Because he was, I mean, well, his big one was Superboy. That was
Mm-hmm.
his first appearance.
Well, I mean,
So
like, you remember the start of Jeff Johns' run kicked off
hmm
with a little King Shark arc.
hmm King Shark arc. Oh, that's tough to
Mm-hmm.
say. Not easy. Not easy.
Not easy. I practiced it before the stream.
Suicide Squad Dream Team. Um, if you recall, at the end of the last issue, they have managed to capture Dreamer. Basically, they have her tied up. She's still there at the beginning of this issue, but she is determined to try to escape.
Yeah, they got her tied up on an airplane transport, taking her back to Amanda Waller. The team
hmm
doesn't want to do this to her. The cool thing about the Suicide Squad is they're all in this together, but they always are constantly being forced to make decisions that they don't want to do because of the situation of being on Task Force X. She's doing a lot of discussing with them about like y'all have to have an idea of what Waller's up to. We can't do this. Let me go. I can stop her. And Deadeye knows that she can't stop her, and he's like, you, and he points it out to her, like, you can't, and if I let you go, we're all dead anyways. But she didn't have to convince him. Luckily, she had what it takes to convince the muscle on the airplane, and that was none other than Bizarro. And Bizarro breaks her out. Airplane explodes. They go falling, and he manages to catch her, and they're now over Gamora. Like, the plane almost made it back. Amanda Waller's watching it coming in, and she sees it explode and her team coming down through the air. And Bizarro manages to catch her. And this was such a great moment because she looks up at him and just says, "My hero." And as soon as she says it, as she's looking at him, his head just explodes.
hmm
Where now enter the man himself, Deadshot, is now here. We haven't seen him yet. They just rolled him in. He's standing at the top of the presidential suite with Amanda Waller. Took that shot from who knows how far, but it was a long way. Dreamer makes a landing, goes straight to see Amanda Waller, guns blazing, dude. She's hot. 38 hot. Runs in there, conversates for half a second, shuts down Deadshot, has some words with Amanda Waller, and throws her out the window. And then you wake up and realize she was projecting through the dreams what she wants to do to Amanda and
Hmm.
and all that stuff. And when she wakes up, the first thing she sees is Amanda Waller's contingency plan for her, which Amanda had waiting for her to show up.
Hmm.
And it's none other than the fact that she's had her parents since before she's even had her. She has a Dreamer's parents. They're just waiting to be executed at the stop of Amanda Waller's heartbeat. So they're on her parents are rigged with a dead man switch attached to Amanda Waller. If you can't, how else do you beat a precog other than get ahead of her before you even interact with her? And Amanda Waller has yet again put on paper why she is who she is. Like, show me the credentials. They do constantly. And this is just another example of just how dangerous this woman is. She has Dreamer. Dreamer can't do anything but operate. She doesn't need a bomb in her head. She's got the bomb in Amanda Waller, put it in herself to get to Dreamer. It was just
Yeah.
savage. Woman is
Yeah,
savage.
it really, and it was sad with Bizarro too. It was at one point when they bring out Kryptonite. I mean, Bizarro actually says, Kryptonite, that's cheating. And it's like anyone obviously who knows anything about Superman knows that yeah, Kryptonite is like a lot of writers have called Kryptonite like the cheat. When you don't know what to do with Superman, you throw Kryptonite at him,
Yeah.
basically, um, because that's really kind of the only thing. And Bizarro actually says that in this particular issue. So, but yeah, when he gets shot in the head, it was like, man, that was sad.
Yeah, and it came out of left field. This book did a great job of serving an actual functioning purpose for the event. It positioned Amanda Waller to her base of operations. She's got a tighter team now. Dreamer stuck where she is. We knew that she was going to have to find a way to have this precog, this very powerful precog at that, with like volatile powers under her thumb. So now I'm excited to see what other characters she kind of does this to. That sounds terrible, but Ollie's next.
Right, exactly. So in this week, Green Lantern, other than actually the stuff that happened in the main story, was to me was much more exciting than what happened in the backup.
Absolutely.
Backup is fun, but it definitely is not necessary. The Dream Team stuff sets everything up perfectly for what she needs to do, because we have a huge week next week. We have action and Superman, so we have chapters 5 and chapter 6 of House of Brainiac. We have Absolute Power Ground Zero #1. We have Power Girl with the third part of her tie-in, which is kind of the same as the backup here. It really is kind of seems superfluous. And then we have Green Arrow #13, which is part of the countdown to um, absolute power as well. So potentially 5 different pieces of what we're looking at. So it's going to be huge. Yeah, exactly. But we will be here to cover all of it. We'll take care of all of it and make sure so you won't miss a beat. We'll let you know exactly what's going on, whether or not you need to go. And we probably should mention as well that because it really wasn't a tie-in, but since we're not going to be covering it itself. In the Batman story, Batman #149, which came out today as well, it explains that Failsafe was stolen. So
Amanda
that's
Waller has Failsafe's corpse.
correct. Correct. Because if you remember, we had talked about in probably on your at week's end is
Mhm.
what do you do? I mean, because failsafe is an important part of what's going on, and yet he was basically defeated and deactivated and all this other good stuff, at the end of Batman 148. But in 149, they do make comments that failsafe has actually been he was stolen, and I'm sure, obviously, like to your point, it was Amanda Waller who stole him. So
The government has them.
right.
And inside of Green Lantern War Journal, we've also shifted. Like guys over there, he's going for John. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Him and Shepard. I love that character, Shepard. Man, I want to see more of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Guy kind of saves him at the very end of the issue and
Yeah,
takes him away.
like, hang in there, buddy.
Um,
You did good.
yeah,
Let's
exactly.
go.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
go.
Right. So Guy does some redeeming stuff as well. In the end, I think his heart is always in the right place. He just doesn't necessarily know how to get there sometimes. Um, but yeah, so that's gonna be it for this edition of DC Comics Deep Dive. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Don't forget to leave a comment and click that little like button. It helps with the algorithm gods. But that's gonna be it for this edition. I am Paul. He is Mark,
But we are Legion.
and you are now leaving Sector 20.